Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, we're going to be having a look at the brand new Hilda from Bram Bos. But something else has happened overnight, and yes, hell has frozen over! And we'll tell you more about that in a second. Good morning, welcome to the show, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Jade, this is How to App on iOS, and yes, excuse my voice, I am still dealing with a tragic cough and all that stuff, and hopefully it'll go away soon, and all that. This is How to App on iOS, where we look at apps and just make music and all sorts of fancy stuff, if you know what I'm talking about. You're at the right place if you're into iOS or just music making in general. And indeed, as I said at the start of the show, hell has frozen over. It totally has frozen over. And we'll talk about that in a second. I'd like to welcome our Watt Warriors to the show for as little as $1. Well, it is $1 a month. You can become a Watt Warrior and get perks and all this kind of stuff. Alrighty, let's say hello to people. I know there's one person who woke up today and went, well, my life has completely changed. And here he is right here. It's the party person himself, Pete, who, ironically, Apple sent an iPad to. I wonder what they had cooking up their sleeves. Hasn't that changed things, Pete? Hasn't that changed things? Goodness me, Pete. Content up the wazoo. Anyway, it is a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new life. It's time for Logic. Hello, Pete. Hello, Brad. Hello, Matthias. Hello, Coldacre, Gregory. Who else do we have? The yesterday's birthday boy, Chad Freeman. Welcome along, yes, because hell has indeed frozen over. And guess what? It's finally happening. I was just about to go to bed last night, and then I got a message saying Logic is coming to the iPad, and it finally is. And boy, does this thing look insane. And wow. And it looks like GarageBand. It sure doesn't smell like GarageBand, which is very, very exciting. There's things I hope that it does. They're saying it's a one-to-one, but it's from the ground up for touch. Very exciting stuff. It's $4.90. Is it $4.99 or $4.95 a month, or $49 a year? Which I know I've already seen people crying about it. Right? Just think about us Aussies and Canadians. It's going to be $70 for us a year. But subscription though, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Like if you're going to use it. There's so much value there. I've already seen people crying about it. It should be free. Fuck off. Yeah, so should everything. So should food. So here it is in Australia. It's going to be $7.99 a month for Australians, $59 annually a year for Australians. So not too much more. I'm getting it. I don't give a crap. And let's see how we go with the first year. It's all going to depend on what you make with it. Don't get it if you're not going to make any music, for God's sake. For once, I'm going to think about here we go. Let's just say this. I'm just going to think about me for a change. I don't give a fuck if you get it or not. That's up to you. You make your decision. For me, I am excited as all hell because for all of the doors that are on iOS, the one I always go back to instantly is GarageBand. The one I'm always angry about is GarageBand. Why? Because it's so easy to use, and my workflow in GarageBand, as you've seen on the channel when I make music here on the channel live, I smash through it very quickly because I'm so used to it and it's so intuitive, GarageBand, but it's so infuriating because of this lack of master strip and this awful limiter. So if they've found a way, which it looks like they have done, to turn Logic into GarageBand and make it just as easy to use with all the bells and whistles, take my money because I will make so much more music. I will make so much more music. You watch how much music comes out of me. So, and I feel like it justified that I've bought an iPad Pro 22 because it's so heavily underused. Hello, Princess. Hello, Leanie. Hello, Rhett. Hello, Heather. Welcome aboard. If you don't know what's going on, what we're talking about here, if you're not an iOS user, Apple have finally announced Logic Pro for iOS. After years and years of speculation, it is finally here, and it looks like it's going to be nuts, and I can't wait to get it, and I can't wait to start using it, and it's released on the 23rd, and that is very, very exciting because it looks like they have made it completely for touch, for pencil. I feel bad for other people at the moment with DAWs that aren't touch friendly and aren't really built how this looks like. But the other news, because I don't want to hang on this tomorrow, because I'll let you know, guys, tomorrow is my 100th episode. Yeah. And we're going to talk about all this tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a hang here on the show. We're going to play some of your music, look at some of my past projects and shows and things, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow. So I don't really want to take up too much time yammering on about this because it is what it is. There's going to be more info as it drops. It's all still fresh, but I will quickly touch on the other thing that is dropping as well, and I can't wait, is Final Cut Pro. Man, bring it on. Final Cut Pro in all of its glory. And wow, see this thing here? Look at this. This scroll wheel to scroll through your timeline. Oh, give it, take the money that I don't have right now. Take the money. I don't have it, but take it all. And this is going to be a subscription as well. So 2 subscriptions. I don't give a shit. Give it all to me. Very exciting. Multicam editing. Ouch, LumaFusion. Man, times are going to be tough around there. Yeah. Look at this scene removal mask. You can just add a touch, remove backgrounds from any video. What? Yeah, crazy shit. Voice isolation, auto cropping. Yeah. I bet Pete has got a spring in his step today. Look at all that content. Man, I can't wait. I'm super excited. This is fantastic. You know, I think the best thing to do is if you're, thinking about it, dive in, get it for a year, either one of them or both, and then evaluate at the end of the year and see what you've made with it. And if you get to the end of the year and you've made fuck all, don't buy it again. A very big incentive to make lots of music with this thing and, to open previous GarageBand projects now in Logic on iPad. Take my money. All right, we got to move on because we got a really fantastic app to look at today. I can't wait. I will say this before we go, Pete. I can just imagine Apple sitting around a boardroom meeting. I was saying this on Clubhouse, and they were like, all right, let's come up with a campaign to contact all of the great content creators on YouTube, and we'll give them an iPad for loan. What do we call it? Surprise and delight. And then, hello, Pete Johns, would you like an iPad Pro? Surprise and delight, because a week later, here comes Logic. Boy, they really have surprised us. And the whole iOS music community is jumping at the moment. Everyone's excited. Wherever you go, that's all you can read is Logic is coming, and it's good to see. It feels like all the money we invest in these devices, Apple has finally been sitting there for a bit of time making something for us. So let's just hope that it is awesome. I can already feel it's going to be good. I'm excited. I have hope. It's not often one has hope. So let's enjoy that. Today, let's jump over here and talk about the Beat community, who I'll bet, because they're such a great source for information, already has an announcement up here on their page. See, Apple announced Final Cut Pro and Logic, so it's already on here. If you're not checking out the Beat community, you really should do, because they do a lot of work showing off latest desktop samples, expansions, iOS stuff. It's all there. It's your one-stop shop. Any price drops today? Let's do a quick refresh and see what's going on. Nothing's really changed from yesterday. We got the Drum Lab and DM2 audio kit stuff on sale. Cubase is on sale. Velvet Machine, a whole bunch of things here on sale. Today, though, we are looking at Hilda. Von Hilda from Bram Bos. Came out of nowhere, this thing, $12.99. And Bram Bos just make wonderful, wonderful apps, fantastic apps. Had no idea this thing was coming. Popped up in my feed. Here it is here. It is a Complex Oscillator Synth. And wow, when I first opened it up, I was very intimidated. But the good news is it's a lot of fun. So let's jump in and have a look at this app because there's a lot of stuff happening today. We will be jumping straight after this show over to Mr. Smith, who's doing a 90-minute show playing drums to a whole bunch of community members' music, including me and Princess, who's in the chat. So he might even be playing Pete Johns and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's happening today directly after this show. And let's open up AUM because I, as usual, made a project using this app. And let me silence myself and hit play, and then we'll run through how to use this thing. Sound okay? Let's do it. Boom. All right, let's clear this out and have a look at how this thing works because it's a load of fun. We're going to create an audio track here and place this in. So this is AUV3, so you can use it in any DAW you like. It is a synthesizer. You can use an external keyboard to play this as well. Where are we? Hilda. It's got an interesting name. Von Hilda. Hello, Hilda. Hilda is here. So we're going to first connect this to a MIDI keyboard. So we want to select our input. We'll go over here and find my key step. And now we should be able to, if I double tap and go full screen. So you can see it works. So the first thing we'll start off with, so this is a single oscillator that can be mutated many ways. And it runs kind of like a circuit board. So we have a sequencer down the bottom. We'll cover the sequencer later on. We'll talk about this circuit board up the top just so you understand how everything works. The first thing, I'm going to point your eyes to the middle of this, and you can probably hear, if I be quiet, a bit of a hiss in the background. So that's the app, the hiss running, and I just want to draw your attention to this drone here. So not only is this a sequencer, a synthesizer, but you also have a drone built in. Now if I turn this drone up, we've got this constant sound happening. Plus I can play the keyboard with it. And whatever key I hit, the drone will continue on. It's quite nice even by itself doing that. So you've got the option to run the drone or run the synth. So what I'm going to do is just keep the drone happening. We'll do a middle C. And let's talk about the oscillator, how all that works and how all these circuits work. You can see, much like a circuit, there's a lot of arrows around here pointing to where places go. So you can follow the trail of how things work. Anything you hover over or press, you are told, let me just turn this off for a second. You are told what it is. If I hold down here, pay attention over to this little circuit here. Whatever I click on, it tells you what it is. A drone. We've got a cutoff filter there. So we've got a resonance filter here. We've got a low pass, high pass, all our filter types in here. If I hold down over here, here's our LFO frequency. So whatever you hold down, up here it tells you what it is. So over here, and you've got a few pointers of the main section. So here's your oscillator, your filter, slope, LFO, your ADSR, and you've got a huge delay over here. And these fingerprints are something we'll get to as well, which are quite interesting. So bringing this drone back up, here is our oscillator. So when I hold down here, you can go through your sawtooth, square. And remember, any of these things can be LFO'd, modulated. Try not to make this too loud, so it can get a bit annoying. So you can change the shape of your oscillator very easily. If we follow the lines down here, we can detune this. We can get pretty low down here as well. Listen to that. That's nice. We've got a glide down here. So this is for your keys, so you can glide as well as your sequencer. So you can turn down the glide if you don't want to glide between notes. You've got a timbre. Now you're not going to hear too much of that at this level. You can hear it changing slightly. Let's move over to the fold. So all this section is all for the oscillator. Let's fold this oscillator. Man, how good's that? That sounds mean. And you'll notice in between all these sections, you'll see these all over the place. This little shape and this S. So these, let's just silence this for a second. So these little things here are your LFO and your slope. So your slope is kind of similar to an LFO as well. And so you can modulate using these. So wherever there's one of these, it means you can modulate between these two sections as long as you have your LFO. So you would turn this up. So let's start by, what do? We'll throw one in here. Let's bring this sound back up. We'll turn on this LFO here. And now we'll get this thing going because we've got a frequency and a modulation for the LFO. And now we can start getting some movement. I'm sure that's fun for your ears like it is mine. And we can modulate all this. Now this one controls our ratio. We can get. So now we're messing with the ratio as well. Plus we also have this slope here. So let's turn on the slope and turn this up. So now we've got two sets of movement running around this. You can really pull some crazy sounds out of this. And we haven't even got to the FM yet. And if I turn off the drone, now when I play the keyboard, okay, so you've got the option to play the keyboard and the drone. If we turn the drone back up, lots of fun to be had. We also have some noise in here. So I think it's a brown noise in here. We can turn that up. We can even modulate this brown noise. So you can hear that is beating along with the rest of the modulation. And here you can see everything from here kind of goes down into these arrows into this section here. So this is our amp. We can turn this up and fatten all this up, or we can turn it all the way down. Let's move over to this section because we have an FM here, FM synthesis. Listen to that. We got a sub oscillator. And we have a X ring here as well. And all this can be modulated too. I'm getting there. Don't go back to your old ways. Unbelievable. I thought we'd cured you. God, unbelievable, this guy. Just for you, Audible. So we've got these fingerprints here. So if I touch one of them, it activates, and if I pull down, so we've got a bit crusher. See you later, Leedy. And then over here, with this fingerprint, we can slow everything down. Speed it back up. And then release. Okay, let's follow the fingerprint, follow the arrows. Because over here, we have a circuit bend. You can hear what that's doing. It's chewing it all up. It's messing with that sound. Then we have our low pass filters. So we've got low pass, high pass filters, notch filters, phases. And then we've got our cutoff for frequency for our filter. And our resonance for the filter. All of these can be modulated as well. Let's take out some of this modulation. Pretty crazy stuff. Thank you, Leanie, for that. Let's bring this drone back up. And some of the sounds you can get out of this are just off the planet. We've got a drive here as well. For the filter, we can drive it, give it some overdrive. All right, so we've got a couple more of these thumbprints here. And this one down here is like a little recorder. You hold down and it will record and then loop. And what it does, you see there, it does a quick recording of what you've played in. So I play some notes and it reverses it. It plays it backwards until it stops. So let's try that again. I'll hold it down. So really cool if you've got a loop playing in here. Wicked. So you've got that in there. We have a phaser up here, I do believe it is. So this thumbprint, when I drag, you should hear a phase happening. And again, we can slope this because we've got all these slopes everywhere. We've got another LFO over here. Okay, we'll stop that for a second. So also you have a VCA over here, which is your ADSR, ASDR. So it's a combination with the DR here, decay and release. You want to turn this, if you're going to try and make some pads out of this, I would suggest turning the fast off and then turn this attack up. And you can hear now we've got a late attack. Let's change this sound up a bit. Also with the LFOs, you can change types. So you've got sine, triangle, square, ramp up, down. You've got so many different options for your LFOs. Bring the drone back in. Hi, Leela. All right, so you've got two different types of VC8s here, yeah? So there's... And if we turn this fast on, you can see even with the attack up all the way, it's not reacting like a normal... like it normally would, yeah? So that's why we turn off this fast, especially for a long attack. All right, the last thing on the last few things on here. Let's change this LFO back to we'll go to a triangle. We've got a big space delay here. So let's turn this all the way up. You can change the time with your time slider and the feedback, how long you want it to go. Just gonna go back to our initial drone here. So I've got a clean tone. All right, and the last things on the end here, we have this wow, flutter, kind of instability. And you have an overall FX filter up here. So a low pass filter for the effects. And the last knob here is your output level. And your thumbprint, which gives you this So as you can see, the sky's the limit. You can make virtually whatever you want. Really good for drones. I'll show you a drone project I made last night next, but let's jump over quickly and have a look at the sequencer, because you have a full 16-step sequencer down the bottom here, and you can turn this on by doing so and hitting play, and we're off. So you can decide the steps of the sequencer down here. We're currently set to 8. You can decide the speed. You can decide the gating, which I still can't seem to work out. It doesn't seem to gate for some reason. I don't know. I've tried everything. You can change the octave of the bass note nice and quickly. You can change the mutation, so the way it moves. So it'll change from backwards to forwards. You can change the bounce here as well and have it go, instead of just going forward, Now you can go forward and back. So that's with the bounce here. And you can decide to make the mutation and all these changes permanent, yeah? So along the top here, here's your notes. You can randomly turn these backwards and forwards. You can change the velocity of all of these as well. You can add your drone. And you can also go in here and randomize this. So you can randomize the sequence, you can randomize the synthesizer. You can randomize the patch. So you've got this after patch, which keeps similar patch, but just modifies it slightly, the synth. And you can even go in here and change the scale as well. So we could go to a D. You've got a whole bunch of scales. You can remove notes from the scale. You can load presets in here. So here's where your presets are. So you've got drones and noises. There's heaps of presets. Let's go through some presets. So you've got factory patches and drones. So I've just added an LFO externally, and now you can see we've got this FM doing some wild stuff. Let's turn this down a bit. Man, you can create some amazing stuff. pretty damn sick. So yeah, there's a load of presets in here. Well, you know, not hundreds and thousands, but enough to get you started, especially for drones. So the other thing you can do is you don't have to load this as an instrument. So let's cover this external section here because you can load these as effects as well. So let's load in a copy of Hilda as an effect. And then we can hit play on this and we can send, because we've got Hilda in here as an effect, we can send it into down here. And you can tell what you've got connected by the lights down here. So when I've got it turned all the way to the left, we're using the internal sound here. So I can go in here and create another preset. Let's grab another drone. And now if I turn this up, I can bring in the above sound from this one and blend them together. And you could go even further and add another one and then bring that one into another one. You know what I'm saying? So you could continue to push these through as effects, and you can push anything through. So we could open up a fluss over here, and then a Hilda. Let's just take this out of the equation. Let's get fluss going. We'll load up something in here. So now we've got fluss happening and we can send this into Hilda. So you see what I mean? You could use this as an effect. You can push anything into it. So you could open up GarageBand, even have a guitar or anything and filter that into Hilda and get things going that way. So yeah, a lot of customization that is available in here. We'll go back over here. We'll take this one out of the equation. Let's go through some of the... I really like this sound. I'm actually going to save this. Let's do that. So you can save your presets. Let's call this Hell. So now that will go into my user patches. See you later, Rhett. So we've got factory presets as well. These have got sequences connected to them. I really wish there was some arrows here next to the preset so we could skip through presets. That would be really cool. Instead of having to open this up all the time. You can also access the presets up here as well. And if you are connected to, remember, if you're connected to your keyboard, you can play stuff in as well. All right, so hopefully you've got an understanding of how it all works. Pretty standard stuff, you know, all these, as I said, you hold down. If you don't know what something is, just hold down and this little circuit will tell you what it is. You know, it's a synth, man. It's got an oscillator. It's got a sub-oscillator. It's got an FM synth. It's got a filter. It's got LFOs. It's got a sequencer. But it's really unique within itself. It's Bram Bos. It doesn't, with the effect, the delay, there's no sync or anything like that. So that's, you know, you've got total control over that. It would be okay if there was a sync there, but I think the freedom and the craziness of this is the way it was meant to be. What I'm going to do to go out today, because we've got a featured artist today, which is Asai Effin and No Emus. We're going to play his song before I send you over to Mr. Smith. I made another little project today, and I want to show you how complex you can get. I made a drone. And look at this thing. It's crazy. So basically what I've got is I've got a copy of Hilda going into an effect of Hilda, and then a bus sending over to the next one, going into another Hilda, and then a bus sending to another bus with another Hilda, and then a bus going into another bus to another, to a Gauss, and then Gauss going back into another bus with another Hilda. So we have a whole bunch of drones all sending through each other, all through to the final mix. And so how we're going to do this is I'm going to hit play, because at the end of it, I have an LFO controlling different aspects of these drones. So now we're going to start off work backwards, because if I turn up the first one, you won't hear anything. There's sound, but everything is being sent forward. It's paying forward. So if we keep everything down at the front and start with the back, and we're moving up in a step. I'm going to bring it all up again. So you'll hear each one come into its own, and I'm building it up as a step from smallest to largest, yeah? All right, and on that, let's just one more time. We've got everything playing. Make sure our volumes are good. Pretty scary stuff. Great for soundscapes, drones, crazy shit. It's really nice. This is a fantastic app, in my opinion. As I said in the beginning of the show, I felt when I opened it up for the first time, it looked really overwhelming, but it didn't take long to pick it up at all. So hopefully this has helped you make an informed decision on if this is something you'd like to get. It is $12.99 on the App Store, currently from Bram Bos. I think it's wonderful. Another inventive synth from Bram Bos. They continue to delight and make interesting apps, and that's what we want, because now we've got Logic coming to mess around with all these things, and who knows if we've got going to have ins and outs and MIDI and all that stuff with Logic. It'd be amazing. So that is that. I'm going to leave you today with our featured artist, which is S11 and his brand new album that he's released. And let me just jump out of here and do all these things. I will need to let you know, once again, remind you that tomorrow, please come and join me. It is my 900th episode. Who would have believed in under 3 years we've done 900 episodes? So we'll be talking tomorrow about all this Logic stuff, all this new stuff. It's just super exciting. We're going to go through a whole bunch of my little projects that I open the show with each day over the last few years and see if there's anything worth keeping, or play some people's music on the show. We'll have a chat, we'll have a hangout, lots of stuff. So hopefully you can come and join me for that tomorrow. All right, up next is Mr. Smith. I will automatically dump you over there to his show. I'll see you all over there. This is S11's brand new single from the album, which is titled The Shrewsbury Affair. And this is called Hope is Lost. Remember, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. And I'll see you tomorrow. We all rise together. Boom.
'cause you make me shine better.